Okay, so social media breakfast, welcome. I know there's a lot of new people here today because I saw a lot of new names. Can we get a show of hands? Who's their first time here today? Wow, that's like half the room. That's awesome. Who's been here since the very start? Anyone?
Very start.
Well, close enough. I mean, if you were in the basement at Tallulah, then that's the very start. Our humble beginnings. We appreciate those people that are coming back too. Are there former speakers in the audience? Anybody that's presented? 1, 2, 3. I'm one. Okay, so we'll get started. What's our focus? Networking and education. We used to say networking, education, and caffeine. And then when our lawyers were helping us with the 501c3, they said that didn't really belong in the paperwork, so we took it out of the slides. But there's still plenty of caffeine. So if you're sitting next to somebody you haven't met before, please exchange cards, Twitter handles, LinkedIn profiles. Let's make friends with each other. You're supposed to pick up on my pauses, man. When do we meet? The third Wednesday of every month. So if you meet me out on the street and you say, hey, when's the next event? I don't know. I just know it's the third Wednesday of the month. Mark it on your calendar. We've only shifted it one time when there was 5 Wednesdays in a month and we couldn't figure out what we were going to do, and that was years ago. So you can pretty reliably count on this being the third Wednesday of the month. It's always from 7:30 to 9:30, and we've always got a really good speaker. This is our team, which has grown from just a few people to 11 of us, which probably seems kind of crazy, but that's how we pull this off every month. I'll give a quick rundown. Bill Hurley. Bill, you in here? He's way in the back, raising his hand. He writes our blog, maintains our website for us. He's a great guy. He works for WEAC, I knew that. Krista Ledbetter, she couldn't be here today because her job pulled her away from us. She's normally our Twitter maven. She has like 87,000 tweets, which is like 70,000 more than the founder of Twitter. She's usually here to take that abuse, but I just have to do it anyway. Emily Olson, she's our treasurer and our accountant. She's in the back. She makes sure we can pay the bills and all that fun stuff. Tyler Pausick, is he here? No, I think his new job also prohibited him from being here today. He's kind of our special projects guy, which means he's a new guy, so we're just giving him all the crap work, basically. Jeff Powers in the back. He's hiding. He's wearing the cool sweatshirt that I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. That's a fundraiser item for us. We're selling him the special order. Now he's got a hood up. He's a gangster. He does our videography for us. Is that how you say it? Videography? Videography? So if you missed the event or you aren't really taking good notes and you want to see it after the fact, we put these on YouTube. Jeff does that for us. He does a very nice job. Lance Rates. Where's Lance? Raising his hand in the back there. Lance is our sponsorship chair. He's also catering today. He owns Yola's Cafe along with his wife, Lisa. They're kind enough to feed us, so thank you to them. Renee Rip. Renee's raising her hand. She's the person that checked you in, most likely. She's the person that runs our Eventbrite. She takes care of all of our hospitality stuff, and she's been with us for kind of a while now. Then there's me. I'm Tony Rodriguez. Fearless leader, I guess. That's what they refer to me as. I've been doing this since the very start. I've been here since the second meeting we ever had. At that point, I was just attending, and somehow I got sucked into the leadership aspect of it, and it's been an uphill battle since then. Paul Stokes. So the fact that you can hear me and then you can see the slides, that's all Paul. He does our AV for us. He's also our secretary, so I force him to take minutes and listen to me blather on and write it all down when we have meetings. Mike Walsh. Where's Mike? The red jacket over here. Mike's our social media chair. He handles Twitter and Facebook. Keeps things interesting for us, keeps people informed. And Bob Wydra. I don't know if I saw Bob. Bob hasn't been present. As you may know if you were here last month, Bob had a couple of strange incidents. He was hit by a car, and as he was being transported to the hospital, they realized, actually I should say, once he got to the hospital and they did some tests, they realized that he had a tumor on his kidney, and he had that removed just a few weeks ago. He's still recovering. He's been having kind of a tough time of it, so if you see his Twitter handle here, @DidItDirect, you want to send Bob a note, say, get well soon, that would be nice. He's usually the person roaming around with a really, really nice, expensive camera taking photos. So kind of like the teenagers, if it's not on the internet, it didn't really happen. I mean, the photos that Bob takes for us basically make these events come alive. So somebody take some pictures, please. Okay, upcoming events. So AmFam, Dream Bank, they're one of our sponsors. So I'm mentioning some things they've got going on the next couple of days. And if there's somebody from AmFam, they can elaborate a little bit. But today, I think at noon, they have a learning lab, Finance Your Dream. Tomorrow, they have 2 events. They have a live webcast, and then they also have some kind of music event in the evening. Is that right? Dream Bank person? Yeah, he's got his thumbs up, so that's at least somewhat accurate. Just go to amfam.com/dreambank. You can learn more. Otherwise, go grab the Dream Bank guy and ask him a lot of questions. So next month, AmFam's actually our presenter as well. So we'll have Michelle Wingate, who's the social media manager. Is that her title? She'll be talking about the evolution of metrics and branded content. So basically kind of where they got started and where they are now and kind of how they've measured their progress along the way. And then in December, we're going to have Adam Centauri, who is an Instagram user. He is a helicopter pilot, and he has about 500,000 followers on Instagram. So he just takes these just tremendously awesome photos. And Mike Walsh, our co-manager, found him. He saw him speak previously. We invited him to come. I think that's going to be a really interesting one. And here's where you can follow us. Our website, SMBMad.org, and all these other links. These presentations, the intros, are also available. We usually post those in the blog that Bill does. So if you don't have a chance to write all these down, you can come find them after the fact and follow us there. Our presentation today is City Slickers, Cows, and Social Media. And our sponsors today are Baumatic. So they were kind enough to offer us the space, which is very nice. It's a lot more room than we typically have. I have kind of a weird joke that I wasn't sure if I was going to tell about Baumatic. The place where we kennel our dogs is literally just around the corner from here. It's a lady who watches dogs in her home. It's called Park Your Pooch. And every time we would pass this, our dog would usually be howling. And he would say, "Bo, Bo." And so we started saying that he was the president of Baumatic because it sounded like that. So every time we go by, if he wasn't howling, well, there's your company. I don't know. So if that helps it stick in your head, sorry. So I'll just have the top level sponsors come up if they want to take a moment to kind of talk about what they do, why they decided to sponsor us, where they can be found online. So if somebody from Baumatic, AmFam, and Charter want to come up, I don't actually see a Charter person here today. We'll let Colin go first because Lisa's being shy.
All right, I'm Colin from American Family. First thing, in the back of the room, we are doing a drawing. We do this every month for a catered lunch for 8 people. So you and 7 of your friends or teammates at the Dream Bank, and you get to have free lunch and sit with members of our team and talk social media. Pretty informal. We've had great feedback on it already. So if you haven't dropped your name in the little clear cube back there, you can do that. We also do a drawing every month for. This month it is for 2 Fromagination. Does everybody know what Fromagination is? A little cheese shop down on the square, so it's a little dairy theme today. 2 gift cards, $25 each, so 2 different winners. What you need to do is tweet with 3 things in your tweet. Number 1, @AmFam. Number 2, SMBMad. And your favorite flavor of cheese, whatever that might be. So tweet us, and we will do a drawing before the end of the session today to give away 2 $25 Fromagination gift cards. And then I'm just going to give you a couple of other events at the Dream Bank. One of them is a member of my team, Deborah. Is Deborah here today? Not here today. Deborah's doing 2 sessions on October 22nd on LinkedIn groups. So if you are a person who's interested in how to use LinkedIn groups better, attend one of those free sessions at the Dream Bank at 12 or 6:30 on October 22nd. And then on October 30th, if you're a person looking for a job and you need help with your resume, we do regular resume clinics down there too. So I want to promote that because that's our HR department doing resume clinics for people in the community that need them. So who's next?
Where'd Lisa go? There she is. And then Lance, you should get up here too.
Multitasking.
Busy.
Thank you, Colin and Tony. Well, welcome everyone to Bomatic. And I really wish our president was here to hear that story because he would get a kick out of that there's a dog that barks that goes by that's the president of the company. But welcome. For those of you who aren't familiar with Bomatic, you can see lots of cow things around the room. We're really proud to be the third largest end-to-end milking equipment company in the world. And our two other big competitors are in Europe, so we're the only one headquartered in the US. This is the world headquarters. We're celebrating our 75th anniversary next year. Excited about that. Very proud of that. We make a lot of products here in the United States, and we push that hard. We also have two things that, when you think about Bomatic, if you have, interactions with people that are in the dairy industry, we are the company that is focused on the health and well-being of the cow. That makes us different. That helps us stand out from our competitors. Also, our focus is on the milk harvest process. So if you talk to dairy farmers that seek out Bomatic, use Bomatic products, it's because they are looking for excellence in the milk harvest process and they care about their cows. So that's how we position ourselves against the competition. We use social media as times change, as dairy farmers move on. There's a very large global trend in terms of consolidation for dairy farming. And as people move through that process and age, we have people that are going out of dairy farming that are, they're not online. But definitely the generation of farmers that is here and now, they're buying very sophisticated equipment. There's a lot of automation, a lot of robotics, and they know how to use smartphones, they use the internet, they use social media. So as a company, we want to keep pushing that. We can do a lot more than we're doing right now. So we're really excited to have you here and to learn with you. And hopefully we can hold another event here. I hope you guys all enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's give a hand to Bomatic for hosting. Lance, did you want to come up and say something? Lance has been kind enough to feed us the last couple of events. I think he deserves to do some shameless self-promotion, as we like to call it.
I'm Lance Race. I'm the owner of Yola's Cafe. We're just west of the Princeton Club in the Cortland Commons Shopping Center by Brennan's, right next door to R.P. Adler's Pub. And this is our favorite season because we love pumpkin. How many pumpkin lovers do we have in the room? Not only do we have what everybody has right now, pumpkin spice lattes, but we have pumpkin chies. We have pumpkin cream cheese filled scones. Now, how many people have ever heard of a filled scone? We have several filled scones. We have regular scones. We have pumpkin baked oatmeal. We have pumpkin waffles with pumpkin butter, and just pumpkin galore. And so we're also gearing up for the Christmas season. We'll have all the peppermint and gingerbread and all those different things. We just updated our menu. Please come by and check us out. And we just love to have you at Yola's. Thanks.
Thanks, Lance. Thanks for feeding us. All right, if you're on Twitter, sorry about that. That sometimes happens. Yeah, now you can say good morning, right? Our hashtag today is #SMBMad. So if you are a Twitter user and you include that in your tweet, then people that are looking at the screen can follow along with the conversation, or people that are following remotely can follow along with the conversation if you're not familiar with what a hashtag is. And finally, you get to hear somebody talk other than me, Carrie Mess and Amy Thronson.
Good morning. Okay. Okay, keep talking. Okay, good morning. Thank you so much for being here, Tony. Thank you for the introduction. And to Bomatic, a special thank you for welcoming us here. I know that you are caffeinated, but you might not be awake yet. So I'm gonna ask you to join me in a little game that I like to play, especially when I'm at the front. You have to do what I say. So I'm going to make a statement, and if this statement applies to you, you're going to, yes, stand up, raise your hands, and say, that's me. Now, I won't make you do it for a long time. I promise we'll just do it a few times, but I just wanna get the blood moving, and so that we can see who's here in the room with us today. So let's start with an easy one. I am here at Social Media Breakfast. That's me. Okay, we can do better on the that's me, so we'll just keep going. Okay, so yes, great, good job. I use social media as part of my job. That's me. All right. I work in marketing. That's me. You guys are great. I work in advertising or public relations. Okay, we can do better. I know. You guys, this is amazing. It was great to see the front filled. This is so not like church. Everyone was at the front. It was great. I work in real estate. Wow. Okay, so we've got a void here. I work in banking or finance. Yeah, okay, good. I write a personal blog.
That's me.
Yep, be proud. Good. I work in education. Oops, wrong way.
That's me.
Awesome. I work in the dairy industry. That's me. Come on, dairy, let's be prouder than that. I am a dairy farmer.
That's me.
Obviously, Carrie is not afraid of standing out. We too, at my company, Advanced Comfort Technology, we sell the dual chamber cow water beds. So I am usually the only one in the dairy industry in the room. And when you sell cow water beds, you're pretty used to standing out. It's rough, but it's really fun. So anyway, I'm glad that so many of my dairy industry colleagues are here today to support both Carrie and I and to experience the social media breakfast. I've been coming for a few times and I learn new things that I'm able to apply to my job in our industry to improve the way that we communicate with our customers, to improve the way we communicate with just the general audience outside of ag. But, so like I said, when you sell water beds for cows, you get attention, right? But attention isn't enough. So what? We're on national media like CNN and Fox News. We have small mentions in the New York Times, the New Yorker. Those are all great, but getting attention isn't enough. We are focused on standing out at every opportunity to build a stronger brand and to build stronger relationships inside our target audience, the dairy industry. It isn't good enough to turn heads when we say cows sleep on waterbeds. We want people to engage with us. We want people to know who we are, and we want people in our industry to say, tell me about those DCC waterbeds. Although the whole team of DCC waterbeds is 5 people, we are always looking for ways to stand out. And here are 3 strategies that we've adopted over the past few years that I'd like to share with you that, you know, whether I learned them with cow water beds, I hope that they're something that you can take to whatever your business is. And let's work to get a real estate agent here next time so that we can have more people involved. Don't just learn from your mistakes, profit from them. Push social media beyond the retweet. Seek inspiration from the most creative people, blogs, magazines, or books you can find, and then inspire others. So first, in 2010, I made a $10,000 mistake. It sucked. Really bad. I felt very alone. I trusted a friend of a friend, and I got hosed. Or insert your own 4-letter verb. So it was horrible, horrible, horrible. I was embarrassed and I felt alone. But the mistake that I made was in our website development. I totally got hosed again. 3 years later, though, our website, it's not perfect, but it works. Life and business went on as usual, and I chalked it up to a lesson learned, a very expensive lesson, but a lesson learned nonetheless. As I mentioned, our team is always looking for a way to stand out. So when my colleague Holly, who is FaceTimed in, she is in charge of PR, and she's always looking for a way to get us press. So when she saw a query on the Help a Reporter Out Twitter feed that said, seeking small businesses who love their websites, she wrote the anti-answer. She said, we made a mistake, we have our website, we learned a valuable lesson. It was a well-tailored, crafty pitch that led to a feature in the New York Times small business blog. And after that was tweeted and retweeted, someone at the staff of Huffington Post called us to do a feature story on our business and cow water beds. Because again, water beds for cows gets attention. But that's not enough. Because the Huffington Post and the New York Times small business blog is not reaching our target audience. But what happened from that small business blog on the New York Times were 3 very, very important things. A television story in rural Indiana featured a dairy farmer with water beds on their evening news. Who watches evening news in Indiana? Dairy farmers. Next, the next week, we got a call to have a rural Pennsylvania television crew go out and do another story where our local representative was able to basically do a commercial on television in Pennsylvania talking about waterbeds for dairy cows. And finally, a regional, the Milwaukee Bucks station picked up the clip on the waterbeds for cows and had our CEO talk about the business. So it is true that dairy farmers probably aren't reading the New York Times small business blogs, but I have been to enough farms to know that they do watch the evening news and they do listen to the radio. That sort of exposure in terms of advertising would have cost us well over $100,000, but we got it for free by owning and converting our mistakes into truly valuable lessons. So we don't do this very often, or at least I haven't been to a presentation, but I'd like you to actually think about what's the biggest mistake you've made? Trust me, to get up in front of however many people here and say I made a $10,000 mistake is hard. Very humbling, still 3 years later. But if we don't own up and talk about our mistakes, we can't really ever learn from them. So I'd like to give you just a few minutes to think about what's the biggest mistake you've made, and then if you're brave enough to share it with the person next to you, and in hopes that this can be a place where we're trying to learn and grow, not judge and ridicule. So I'm only asking you to do this to try to learn. So think about your biggest mistake and share it with the person next to you, and how you think you could profit from it. Crickets?
First wife does not count.
Yeah, first wife apparently doesn't count. Take a couple minutes, really. I'd like you to talk to each other. Yeah.
You have a biggest mistake.
Okay. Now I know this will get your attention. Cheese, wine, I wish there was beer. Okay, the second lesson that I want to talk to you about is pushing social networks beyond the retweet. Okay, now we're gonna bring That's Me back a little bit because I know you liked it. How many of you get a sense of satisfaction when you get a like, or even better yet, a share on Facebook? Okay, how many of you smirk when you have when someone uses your tweet for a clever retweet? That's my personal favorite. Okay, so it's affirmed. Someone else has as good of taste as you do, right? Yes, your food porn plate makes me jealous of your life. Yes, your good sense to go for a run makes me buy another half-price cocktail at happy hour. Yes, the article on social media marketing was actually interesting and applicable to my work. So yes, my retweet equals thank you. Thank you for good content. But now, how can you push the retweet beyond a thank you? How can you get someone, preferably with an audience you are seeking to communicate to publicize your content, not just retweet it? The answer? Provide it for them. Do it. In our industry, we work with primarily the dairy trade press, local and national dairy publications, and local reporters, television and newspaper. That's where our audience is. We know that the media landscape continues to lean towards freelance as advertising dollars shrink. But media, especially these trade magazines and small-town newspapers, still need good local content. So we started by tweeting and retweeting with Progressive Dairyman, which is one of our industry's major publications. Then we said hello, a little bit like dating, right? Hello. Then we saw an opportunity. I was traveling to New York State and offered to write an article about cow comfort technologies at 4 different dairies that I visited. We pitched this story, it was accepted, and it became one of the top read stories in 2012. So we kept this cycle up and have had more than 6 articles published about us or authored by Progressive Dairyman's reporters about us or authored by industry professionals that we have connected to the magazine's editors. So here's how it works. Pick your most strategic, highest quality audience targeted media outlet, then advertise with them. Then it's all about relationships. Develop a relationship with your ad rep, with their social media team. Then get to know the gatekeeper and get through if it's an editor or a key reporter. Then seek out a way that you can add value to them. Then write an unbiased, thoughtful, high-value article. Repeat. You have to understand the needs of your chosen media to partner with and add value to them. For a local newspaper, a tailored pitch to the appropriate reporter with clear details, times, contact information, suggested story ideas, and you've done half of their job for them. When you're referring another industry professional to a contact that you have at a publication, you're opening up your little black book and helping them get an article of their own published. You have to collaborate, be unbiased, put on your journalism cap, and build two-way value into your relationship with your chosen media. Now, I said we work with Progressive Dairyman. We are a staff of 5. We can't work with every single dairy publication because we don't have the advertising dollars and we don't have the time. So if you don't have the time or the advertising dollars, pick one. Pick one. Just start with one. Now, in the eyes of Progressive Dairyman, we don't just sell cow waterbeds. We write about family farms, cow comfort, and the dairy industry. We stand out to the media as reliable, valuable resources as well as advertisers. So here's another chance to think. Think about a way that you could collaborate with the media in your industry to create interesting, unique, standout content. You guys did such a great job of sharing with each other. I'd like you to think about that again and try to turn the other way and talk to somebody else about a way that you think you can collaborate with someone in your industry, with the media. As a bit of an aside, I can't tell you how excited it makes me to see a hashtag DCC waterbeds. It's like a branding dream come true, so thank you to whoever put that. Anyway, so are you guys finding this interesting to be able to talk to each other about some of the things that we're actually talking about now? Okay, great. Well, you never know. Okay. So the next, I appreciate you guys, interacting too, because it is early, and I am asking you to talk about difficult things. What's your biggest mistake, and how are you going to try to interact with your industry? I think that those are some really great takeaways that are applicable today. And the next thing that I want to talk to you about is something that's really near and dear to my heart, actually, Movember. So. Okay, I'm going to try to stick with it because I'm getting emotional. I'm very emotional about this, actually, but it's because part of, I was just talking to Dean, and Dean said, I want to work for you. Are you hiring in communications? And I said, we got that on lockdown. So, no, we're not hiring for communications, but what I hope that I can do for you in this next segment is to talk to you about why a 6-foot mustache is kind of my thing right now, and that I hope you can find your 6-foot mustache. Because in our company, we seek out ways to not just be inspired, because that's actually kind of easy with TED Talks and all these different things. You can get goosebumps by reading the newspaper and be reading these feel-good things. You can be inspired pretty easily, but how can we be inspiring? So I read Entrepreneur and Inc., and I go to events like this, not because I think I'm going to run into a dairy farmer who is going to sign a purchase order. No, I'm not here because of that. Although, but it's because I want to be inspired. And when I'm inspired, I might be able to make a plan to change a part of our business or even become inspiring to someone else. If you can inspire someone, you've caught their attention. And it's yet another way that you can stand out. Okay, so how many of you here have heard about Movember? That's me, okay. How many of you are former Mo Bros? Any Mo Bros? We've got one Mo Bro in the back. Any Mo Sisters? That's me. Okay, so Movember, so last fall, I discovered Movember through my regular visits to TED Talks. And if you haven't seen the founder, Adam, and I'm not going to pronounce his last name right, but Google TED Talk Movember founder, and it's a 16-minute TED Talk that is very, very inspirational. Movember is part fun, part fundraiser, and it's all about men's health awareness initiatives through growing a mustache. It's about prostate cancer too. So if you can imagine being in the dairy industry, which is full of men who are very private, shy, don't talk to me about anything, including my name, address, phone number, or my balls. Can you imagine how Movember was going to go over in this crowd? Back to Movember. I got a little too far ahead. But Movember is when men start the month of November 1st, clean shaven, and then for the 30 days of November, they grow a mustache to raise awareness about men's health issues, particularly prostate cancer. They become walking, talking billboards for health. So, accustomed to talking about crazy ideas, see also waterbeds for cows, I did not shy away from the chance to engage others. When I started talking to others in the dairy industry about Movember, they got really excited too, which was shocking but awesome. It was then that I realized I might be onto something that the whole industry would embrace, with our business taking the lead. So my colleague, Holly Blue Bike, Holly and I decided to spearhead a cause marketing campaign in partnership with a coalition of dairy industry companies, and Movember Dairy was born. So if you want to add another hashtag to our lovely lineup that we have going on, Movember was also born on Twitter. We developed a full marketing campaign that included a kickoff event that was held at World Dairy Expo a couple weeks ago, Facebook and Twitter presence, a Movember network page with Movember USA, direct mail, print advertising, and editorial coverage through our planning and networking. So we led the charge and presented proposals to our targeted partners that they just simply could not say no to. And in all, 11 companies in the dairy industry said yes. And more companies keep saying yes. How can we be involved? And we have been given in-kind contributions and funds to support the campaign. The key to all of the Movember dairy materials is that it is part of the cause marketing campaign. DCC Waterbeds, our brand, as well as our 10 partners, will be associated with something that is new and different, fun and totally awkward, interesting and engaging. No one in the dairy industry was talking about dairy producers' balls until Movember Dairy. It may fail, or it might be a huge success. But either way, Movember Dairy is an opportunity to stand out through a message that we are proud to support in our time and our efforts and our relationships. And this is where I hope I'm not getting too emotional, but my dad does not have prostate cancer. He's totally fine. He's very healthy. I get to work with him, or have to, work with him every single day. We're a small family business. So that's my dad, my mom, and me. And when I watched that Movember TED Talk, I couldn't wait. I didn't want to wait for him to get sick, for me to do something that is so much bigger than any of us in this room. And if it helps, if Movember Dairy, if me getting up here talking about my $10,000 mistake helps even just one of you talk to someone who gets a pre-screening and you find prostate cancer first, early, that is what it's about. And then, initially it was it was about me. I don't want to wait for me. But then I talked to my friend Carrie about this, and she's getting really excited. She talks to her father-in-law, who the photo isn't that great. The resolution isn't great. He's had a beard for 39 and a half years. His children have never seen him without a beard. He is going to shave it November 1st because he believes in raising awareness about talking about men's health issues. Wow. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for Carrie for being willing to talk to her. Maybe he's not the easiest person to talk to all the time, and he's certainly probably not the easiest person to talk to about his prostate, but she did it anyway. And she did it because it's 1 in 6 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's 8,000 dairy producers in the US. It's too many. We need to do something about it. Anyway, and I'm going way over. So I just wanted to say that I want to leave you with, don't wait. Don't wait. What's one way that you can, be inspired and be inspiring? What motivates you? Think about it. Reflect on it. Talk about it after. I won't take any more of Carrie's time. But if you do want to take a picture with this 6-foot mustache, it looks pretty good on people. So, okay, great. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dairy Carrie, and she's going to get mic'd up, and I'm going to get her slides up. So, thank you. Oh, use that? Yeah.
So, I'll let her get this started. First of all, the photo that she just shared of my father-in-law, the guy next to him that looks a lot like him, that would be my husband. I'm a little worried that when they both shave completely, there's going to be a little too much family resemblance for me. I'm just going to be honest. So, here's my quick story. I grew up here in Madison. I went to school at La Follette, a couple miles down the road. Not a dairy farmer. not the granddaughter of farmers. No farming connection, other than the fact that when I was like 6 years old, I was like an animal lover. I got ringworm. Like, apparently city kids don't get ringworm. I didn't know. So I met my husband when I was 15. We did not start dating then. He was dating a friend of mine, actually, and I was dating a friend of his. We've both moved on to better things. Let's be honest. But we've been married for 5 years. We've been together for 11 years. And now this is me. Kind of a change. Was not expecting ever in my life to be a dairy farmer. Was not expecting that cows would become my passion in life. But I found out that I have two talents, God-given talents in my life, and I would have never have known about either one of them if my life didn't take this path. First of all, I can spot a sick cow from like 200 yards. I just look out there and I'm like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with her. I want to look at her. Again, how would I have ever known if I didn't become a dairy farmer? I wouldn't have walked through many of herds of cows to be able to do that. And the second God-given talent I have, which will get explained slightly later, is that I can look at any woman and tell you what bra size she wears. It's a neat party trick. So here's the big question, though, that I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about. Why are farmers on social media? I mean, right? You wouldn't think that this ag-rural demographic is necessarily a big demographic for social media. I listened to Jay Baer this summer present, and he shared, I think it was USA Today, or 92% of all farmers out there are now rocking smartphones. That's cool. My father-in-law is not. We don't text. So the big thing about why we're out there is because we need to be. Our customer base has changed. It used to be, even one generation ago, that people knew how their food was produced because either their parents were farmers or their grandparents were farmers. They were much more closely connected to the farm. That's not really the case anymore. So here's a question. How many here grew up on a farm? Sweet. How many have grandparents that are farmers? Okay. How many have no connection to the farm? All right. Yeah, see, we've got a good mix. And it is kind of a neat thing that we're here in Madison, and Madison still is very much a community that supports agriculture. We have one of the most fabulous farmers markets in the country. I think we're ranked like number 2, and I don't know who number 1 is, but they probably suck. I have a little hometown pride, I'm just gonna say. But what I do on social media and what farmers are doing on social media is agriculture plus advocate equals advocate. Our whole shtick on social media is to tell our stories. Again, as I said, generations get further from the farm. They don't know. They have questions. Rather than letting people tell our stories for us, we've gone, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should do it. Maybe we are the ones that know our stories. I don't know, silly thought. Maybe we need to go out there. When you look at your business, who do you want talking about your business? Do you want, your employees, your company telling your story, or do you want your competitors? Right? Makes sense? Again, we're shifting to a different world. There's a lot of people who are very interested in food. They want to talk about food. They want to know where their food comes from. People like local. They like small. They like organic. And there's buzzwords in the food industry that weren't there 20 years ago. So, farming experts are everywhere. They may or may not be farmers. Everyone wants a name for themselves. This summer, I was at the 140U conference. I was speaking there. It was pretty cool. I was really excited to go. For those of you who don't know what the 140 conferences are, they're a series of talks designed around a specific topic. They're like 10-minute talks, kind of like TED Talks, but it's a day where you just, or 2 days, you just have a massive amount of people get up there and tell their story. And I got to go and be a part with a good friend of mine, Colleen, to tell the story about ag and why farmers are on social media. I was really excited. It was in New York. I'd never been to New York City. It was neat. And then I sat there and I watched the people presenting before me. I had 10-minute attacks on my way of life. I had 10 minutes, two presentations before me. I had somebody stand up there and tell everybody that dairy is the most horrible thing you can eat. Ow. Really? So I need to be out there talking about what I do, how I do it, why I do it. Again, everybody wants a name for themselves. Everybody eats food. So if you're going to go out on Twitter and you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to be the next Twitter rock star. What do I talk about? Oh, let's pick this and go with it. It's food. Everybody eats. Let's go for a fad diet. Who's heard of the Atkins diet? Right? Okay. How'd that work out for Mr. Atkins? For those of you who don't know, he got hit by a bus. So you can eat really well and you can still step out and get hit by a bus. So farmers have figured out that if we get online via social media, people can go directly to the source of who grows, raises, produces their food and ask them the questions. Because guess what? I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm an expert in my cows. I can tell you what I do on my farm. And I can only speak for my farm, but I also spend a lot of time on other farms. And I know what our industry's standard practices are. And I can also connect you with other farmers out there. So that's kind of why farmers have migrated to social media. Yesterday, I got an email sent to me through my contact form on my blog. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the end of it said, I'm happy when I hear people die of stroke, cancer, diabetes, gout, and when hunters shoot themselves or shoot the other hunters, that makes me smile. Yeah. I quickly screenshotted that and shared it on my personal Facebook page because I needed some therapy. There was also a lot of F words. I have not responded yet. I don't know if I will. But it's not just an easy peasy farming, hey, everybody loves farmers. That's not really the case anymore. There's a lot of contention, a lot of drama llamas on the farm. So, I am part of a group called agchat.org. The AgChat Foundation is a group that was founded to help teach farmers and ranchers how to use social media. We hold trainings around the country where we invite farmers, ag business folks in and say, okay, we're not going to tell you what to say because that's not our mission. Our mission is to teach you the tools how to use that. So it's pretty cool. And also every Tuesday night, you can check AgChat. It's a hosted Twitter conversation, and you can see farmers, ranchers. You can check the hashtag anytime. People use it all the time, and see who's out there that maybe is farming, and you want to ask them a question. It's a great way. Food chat. There's third Tuesday of the month. We talk more food related instead of just farming. So, here's my thing. This is my shout out to Krita. There's Penny for you. So Penny is a favorite. How do I keep people wanting to read about cows and corn? Because I know my attention span's not that long, and I have a very small market. It's very niche. I put up a lot of pictures of cute calves because people like cute calves. I sometimes push the envelope a little. I have this post, and I have another post where I talk about polled genetics, which means cows that are born without horns. I use the word horny a lot in it, and search terms are interesting. So the big thing, I use a lot of humor in my posts. I like to think of myself as being kind of a funny person, but showing the soft, angry, or human side of our businesses is really what drives my interaction on my blog, on Facebook, on Twitter. We shouldn't be afraid to show emotion. And I know that, first of all, for the guys, you're like, emotion, can't hear you. But you don't have to go there. And a lot of you are businesses, you're representing a brand, and how do you integrate that? It's difficult, but it's worth it. Bringing emotion in is something that we can connect with anybody, everybody. Everybody has emotions. So if we can create content that makes people happy, sad, angry, hopefully not at us, we're gonna connect on a deeper level than just trying to put out our message. My top viewed blogs are ones where I am pissed off, or I talk about dead cows. But I tell the story of what happened, and I think that's important. So this is some of my top. Oh, and then I talk about booze a lot too, and cheese. But I've got, I'll explain the Panera thing a little bit more. You'll see that a lot up there. This pain you can't even imagine, I just published that on Sunday night. It's gone viral, and it's the story of the South Dakota ranchers who were affected by the Atlas blizzard and lost 75,000 cattle right now, it looks like. There was nothing they could do. And that's where I got that email that I was telling you about earlier. That was related to that. A lot of people think that they deserve to lose their animals. They deserve to lose their businesses because they ultimately grow and produce beef and meat. So I disagree. So being asked questions makes me a better farmer. Even when I don't agree with a person's point of view, I value the conversation, except for the dude yesterday. I don't value that conversation. Here's a quick, well, that would be a quick video, but it must not have transferred. It's okay. I had a video where I did undercover dairy. You know, we've seen the undercover animal rights videos, right? That's what it looked like, except I put my own sarcastic, funny twist on it, and nothing bad happened. It took off, which was great. But what really came out of that was, no, it won't. Okay. These are comments from that video. It had like 56,000 views or something the other day, but which I know is not like huge for some big brands, but for me, that's pretty awesome. I had this guy, Veggie Dog. He had his opinion on what our cows should and shouldn't be eating. He thought they shouldn't be eating corn. By the way, this was in February that I did this video. A lot of people were like, they should be out on grass. I'm like, welcome to Wisconsin in February. There is no grass. That white stuff, that'd be snow. So cows are not supposed to eat corn. They need grass. This looks better than most dairy farms. I agree, but still not ideal. I ask, how can you tell what we're feeding them? I mean, you can't really see it that well. We go through this, and in the end, this conversation, he comes back with, that's great. Winning. So this is, important to me to go out and have these conversations. This person had their mind made up, and we've had a conversation, and he learned a little bit more about what I do. How you see the world is not how others see the world. Greta only sees cow butts. She's little. She's big. We have to think about, my scarf is slowly, whatever. We have to think about how we see the world, how others see the world, and we need to be able to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. That first lactation cow is out of a 30,000 pound dam in a high type sire. I'm going to flush her to the highest GTPI bull on the market. Who knows what that means? Okay, dairy people, cheaters. How about this? I'm excited about this cow. She just had her first calf and she's milking really well. Her mother was a really good cow and her dad was a bull that makes pretty cows. I'm going to select a bull to breed her to that will potentially make future really good cows. Does that sound a little more like English? Yeah. So, we can talk lingo, we can, do all this, but even beyond taking it back and dropping the lingo, we can just explain ourselves. And that's really important for farmers. A lot of us tend to be so immersed in our industry that we have a really hard time stepping back and saying, okay, how does this look from somebody else? I see some ads in some of our industry publications, and I'm like, if I wasn't a dairy farmer and I was still the city kid, I'd look at this and I'd be like, what the hell? What are they talking about? How this is crazy. So we need to be able to look at what our target market is, but take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What message does your message say to the people outside your target market? I have these two graphics up here. You can't see them real well, but they're little pill-shaped chickens. Did anybody see this campaign? Okay. If any of you were following me on Twitter in August, I apologize for all the pluck easy chicken tweets, but we got it trending. Panera came out with a marketing tool for their chicken. Their chicken is raised without the use of antibiotics. Totally cool with that. What I'm not really cool with is a marketing plan that insinuates that farmers who do use antibiotics are lazy. Because as a farmer, that's what I saw. Right? This is two little things. It was kind of a lot bigger than this, but I saw this. I wrote a blog about it. It was a brand new campaign when I wrote the blog. This was end of July, early August. It went over like a lead balloon in the ag industry, this campaign. A lot of people were very, very angry. After a couple days of Twitter and Facebook blowing up, I feel bad for the guy at Panera managing their social media because they kind of got beat up. We ended up getting a response. This got copied and pasted thousands of times. Could have used a little more authenticity. But long story short, I ended up talking with the chief marketing officer of Panera Bread a couple days after I published my post, and they took about half of the marketing campaign down. The Easy Chicken kind of died. It's on its last leg. It's still kind of out there, but we're now working with Panera to hopefully form some kind of farmer marketing conversation about where we should and maybe shouldn't go with what we're saying. I'm really happy that Panera wants to promote their product, but you gotta, again, look beyond the market that you're part of. So, again, my husband and I, this is us in our freestall barn, hanging out. He looks really thrilled to be there, doesn't he? Honestly, that's about as thrilled as he ever looks. He's my opposite. This is us. This is our story. We are part of a bigger group, but we want to be a part of your lives too. The farmers out there are out there to talk to you guys, so please come, ask us questions. One last thing quick, I said I'd explain it. I talked about bras and how I can look at women and tell what size they are. I got into Twitter because I owned an online lingerie company and dairy farming. You wouldn't think the two would go together. Both are all about boobs. And then there's that whole derriere thing. So I don't have that business anymore, but that's what brought me to Twitter, and I'm so glad I got onto social media. I learned to become an advocate for our industry, and I hope that all of you can become an advocate for your industry. So when you have questions, come to us.